Hey everyone. Ever imagined DEKU with uchiha powers? Get ready for an epic what-if scenario as we explore the fusion of My Hero Academia and Naruto in DEKU's ultimate transformation. Izuku's perspective. Since that day, I made a promise to become the best hero ever. I carry my brother's hopes with me and I don't plan to disappoint him. It's been 3 years, and I've trained a lot. The only thing I've discovered about my eyes is that they're not a quirk but a very old lineage that only I possess. How do I know? It's easy. I've had dreams of ninja wars involving someone named Obito and Shisui Uchiha, but I don't know them. What's important is that, thanks to these dreams, I've been able to learn not only to use the Sharingan but also the Katen and Raiden elements. I left the orphanage after the police and some heroines came to see the massacre, so I had to leave. But every year on Naruto's birthday, I return. What worries me is how I'm going to become a hero since they won't let me take the tests. But I'll think about that later. For now, I'm only 9. Narrator's perspective. You could see Izuku training in a small battlefield he made himself. Izuku, alright, one more time. Smiling. He jumped up, throwing the kunai so they collided, hitting all the targets without fail, then landed elegantly. Izuku, hey, I think I'm improving a lot. Smiling as he walks out of the field. Maybe Izuku witnessed the death of his entire family with his own eyes, but that never took away his smile. He wants to prove that any barrier can be overcome, no matter how high. Now, you could see Izuku walking through the forest toward a small cabin he built himself. Izuku, alright, what can I eat today? Sitting on a chair outside. When he left home, Izuku decided to live in the forest since he never lived in the city, and it scared him a bit. Izuku, training gets so stressful, I still can't perfect Susanoo. Taking on a Sasuke-like pose, I'm only missing one phase to complete it, but it's the hardest, and I still need to learn Koto Amatsukami if I want the high school title. To catch up, Izuku dreams of mastering the Koto Amatsukami technique, but he can't yet because even though he's a genius, the technique is very difficult, and he's only 9. But he plans to use it on some high school principal to get the title without having to go to the city too much. Izuku, I'll think about that later. Lying down. Izuku looked at the sky for a few minutes. It seemed beautiful, like the sunset at this time of night. Izuku, got it, suddenly stands up, I'll eat fish. After that, Izuku went into the house, grabbed a small sword and some kunai, and went fishing for some fish. Izuku, at this time of year, the fish are delicious. Licking his lips. He walked through the dark forest, but he didn't care much because he activated his 3-spoke Sharingan to see better since he had no intention of killing any animal that might attack him. Izuku kept walking until he reached the lake. Izuku, hey, this place never changes. Smiling. He walked on the lake to see multiple energies underwater. Seeing this, he took out 4 kunai and with incredible force, threw them underwater, hitting 4 fish that started floundering. Izuku, food secured. Picking up the 4 fish. After that, he went to the side to make a fire and grill the fish. Izuku, alright, let's start. Smiling. He made hand seals and then threw a mini fireball to start a fire and grill the fish. After that, Izuku happily cooked the fish and started eating. He ate peacefully, the only thing visible being the moon's reflection, while he enjoyed his meal until he finished. Izuku, sighs, that was delicious. He said before lying down on the grass. Looking at the sky made Izuku nostalgic, as it reminded him of his brother, which made him sad sometimes. He closed his eyes to meditate. Everything in the place was absolutely tranquil until... boom! Izuku quickly got up at the sound of an explosion and activated his Sharingan again to see 5 hunters on the other side of the lake trying to take animals from the forest. Hunter 1, it surprises me that no one else is coming to take these darn animals. Closing a cage. Hunter 3, we're supposed to bring 4 from 3 cages, you know. Irritated. Hunter 2, it's okay, we'll come back tomorrow and finish. Closing another cage. Hunter 4, shut up, there's an extra bear we can deal with. Closing the last cage. Hunter 5, we'll have to kill it. Turning her arm into a cannon. The hunter fired a big cannonball towards the bear, but it never reached it due to a vortex. The hunter fired a big cannonball towards the bear, but it never reached it due to a vortex. The 5 hunters were surprised by this and looked around for a heroine. Izuku, hey, it's rude to enter the forest like that. Serious. The hunters turned all their attention to Izuku and then burst into laughter. Hunter 1, ha ha ha. Wiping a tear, alright, kid, tell us who made the vortex, and we'll let you escape. Izuku, I don't think so. Drawing a mini sword from his back, "I'll take care of you myself," said as he began to multiply. The 5 hunters were surprised by this, as it seemed the kid had a quirk, which was impossible. Hunter 4, "Damn brat, how do you have a quirk?" Annoyed. Hunter 5, "Who cares if he has a quirk? It means men can have them too. This is bad." Getting into a pose. Hunter 3, "I agree, we have to kill him." Activating a water control quirk. The hunters attacked Izuku, but he told 5 of his clones to fight while he caught the hunters off guard. The clones obeyed, starting a fight, but none of them noticed the other 3 clones on the side. The 3 clones lunged at the hunters, putting them all in a circle so that all the clones disappeared, confusing the hunters. Hunter 3, "Hey, kid, did you get married?" Mocking. Izuku, "No, but these 5 seem ideal to test something I've been saving," said before closing his eyes. 4 of the 5 hunters synchronized their movements towards Izuku, but a few meters before they touched him. Izuku, Koto Amatsukami. When Izuku opened his eyes, the moon turned red with a figure on it. The 4 hunters, upon seeing this, blanked out and fell unconscious. The last hunter was impressed as she saw her friends faint into the water. When Izuku opened his eyes, the moon turned red with a figure on it. The 4 hunters, upon seeing this, blanked out and fell unconscious. The last hunter was impressed as she saw her friends faint into the water. Izuku, tired, it finally worked. Happy. Hunter 1, "Hey kid, what did you do?" Angry. Izuku looked at the hunter seriously, thinking that the 4 were trapped and he couldn't use Mangekyu for an hour. Note, if you don't know how Koto Amatsukami works, it's one of the most powerful genjutsu of all, second only to the infinite Tsukiyomi. It puts the victim in such an illusion that you can give them orders or alter their memories, making them think they've already done something or revealed something. It can also potentially kill someone just by looking at them. Izuku, "Alright, here we go." Takes a breath, "It's just you left." Assuming a stance. Hunter 1, "What a bad decision to fight me with a sword." Opening a hole in the air and pulling out a sword. Izuku saw the sword from afar, realizing that if it hit him, it would be defeat for him. Hunter, "This sword belonged to an old monk." Getting into a pose, its edge can cut through iron easily. Izuku, "Such an honorable sword doesn't deserve to be with someone like you. So when I win, I'll keep it." Assuming a pose. Hunter, "Say what you want." Izuku and the hunter lunged at each other. Izuku avoided clashing swords because it was obvious that his sword would break with too much force. Izuku, "She's very fast, but if we keep this up, it'll take forever. Dodges an attack all right, I think it's time to strike." Izuku ran towards the hunter again. The hunter saw an opening in Izuku's defense and tried to strike him, but before the sword could hit Izuku, he quickly moved back, causing the hunter to raise a water cloak. Izuku took advantage of this to kick her in the torso, sending her to the side. Izuku, "This is over," makes hand seals Gukakyu no Jutsu. A massive fireball headed towards the hunter, hitting her squarely and leaving Izuku as the winner of the fight. Time skip, 30 minutes later. 5 women were lying under a tree, starting to wake up. Hunter 1, "What happened?" Confused. Hunter 3, "I think we just finished working." Rubbing her head. Hunter 4, "I guess so." Shrugs. Hunter 2, "Yeah, but I don't know why my body hurts so much. Sore." Hunter 5, "Who cares? Let's go get something to eat." Energetic. All, "Yeah." The 5 hunters walked out of the forest, not caring that none of them had their weapons or swords. Meanwhile, on a tree a bit further away, a red-eyed boy with 3-spoke Sharingan watched everything with a smile, eating an apple. Izuku, "I can't believe Koto Amatsukami works so well," smiling. Izuku climbed down from the tree, using Kamui to go to where the animal cages were. When Izuku was in front of them, he took out his new sword to easily break the locks, letting the animals run free in all directions. Izuku, "All right, my work here is done," said before disappearing again with Kamui. Izuku returned home, changed, and lay down to sleep, but before that. Izuku, "Let's see what kind of dream I'll have this time," closing his eyes to fall asleep. Inside the dream. Izuku found himself in a place all dark red, looking puzzled as he usually saw memories or techniques. Izuku, "Where is this?" Interrupted by a flock of crows. "What the?" The crows circled around Izuku until a deep voice was heard. "So you're the one who's going to fulfill our contract, huh?" Izuku, "Who are you? Serious?" that doesn't matter right now. Another large flock of crows concentrated in front of Izuku, revealing a Izuku contract. Question mark, show more respect, human. Annoyed, this belonged to two ninjas who were geniuses and heroes in their time of life. Kid, all you have to do is sign it with your blood, and the contract will be made. Izuku, I'm not sure, I don't fully trust it. Hesitant. Question mark, listen to me, kid. You sign it, you'll get memories of how to use it, and I'll leave. We won't see each other again. I hate humans. Irritated. Izuku, sighs, I guess you're right. Izuku took the contract and signed it, causing the whole place to turn black and white, and suddenly Izuku woke up. End of the dream. Izuku woke up with a racing breath and a blank stare, sitting up abruptly in bed and going outside to see the sun just rising. Izuku, wow, just wow, holding his head, that Itachi guy was really cool, smiling. Izuku looked at the sky, and suddenly his body turned into crows. POV Izuku. It's been 6 years since I learned to use the Koto Amatsukami. I'm 15 now. During these years, I've trained a lot in both swordsmanship and my Sharingan. I've stopped having dreams a while ago, and that made me realize I have nothing more to learn. But I don't plan to stay in one place. I've invented many other techniques. I managed to combine my fire element with lightning and learned many skills with my Susanoo. There are 10 months left until the UA exam. They won't let me do the practical for obvious reasons, but I'll have to settle for support classes for now. POV narrator. You could see a teenage boy with short black hair and a training uniform walking through the forest. Izuku, I think I'll need that diploma for tonight, smiling, it'll be easy, walking. Izuku kept walking through the forest until he reached his cabin. The cabin looked the same, nothing had changed because Izuku wasn't interested in technology at all. The only difference was a small garage beside his cabin. Izuku headed to the garage to open it and found it filled with weapons of all kinds, shuriken, swords of various types, rare kunais, axes, and more, mostly ninja gear. Another productive thing Izuku did over these years was to collect and learn to use various types of weapons, some of which helped with his elements, but he always carries the same sword with him. He can also summon the others thanks to his kamui, which improved to the point of being able to bring things and store them without needing to keep them in his dimension. Izuku, I won't need weapons to pick up a diploma. Izuku took the sword off his back to place it with others lying around. He used kamui to go to the kitchen of his house and found that the egg he had put on a while ago was ready. Izuku, that's good, it didn't burn. Sighs in relief. Okay, time to eat. Smiling. Izuku put the egg and a couple of steaks on a wooden plate and then sat down to eat quietly. Although he seemed calm, Izuku was a bit nervous because today he would go for his diploma. Until then, he was fine, but in 10 months, he would have to enter UA, which means he would have to learn to socialize. Izuku, well, I think it's time, leaving the empty plate, I'll wash it later. Izuku changed into all black attire as it was getting dark. At the door of his house, he dissipated his body into crows that flew into the city. Meanwhile, elsewhere. You could see a 40-year-old man leaving a giant high school towards his car. Who is the man? Easily the principal of the most prestigious school in all of Japan. Director, today was a good day, but Shuka Todoroki causes a lot of trouble with her jokes, rubbing his head. Shuka does have the scar, but due to her father, Rei, and Endeavor being kind to their daughters, Fuyumi, Natsuha, and Dabi are professional heroines. They'll appear later, don't worry, but that's the only change as Katsuki doesn't change at all. The director was about to get into his car when a voice called him from behind. Question mark, hey. The director turned around, but that was a mistake because the director's eyes went blank, thousands of false memories were crossing his mind until he eventually passed out. Izuku, it worked. Now, to wait, hiding. Exactly 24 minutes passed until the director began to wake up with his head completely cleared of the new memories. Director, what happened? Holding his head. Izuku, director, what happened to you? Concerned. Director, don't worry, young Izuku. Smiling, I think I fainted from the hectic day. Izuku, I wasn't worried, director. Sighing. Director, and what are you doing here? Doubtful, I told you that you don't have your diploma yet, so you have to wait 9 months. Izuku, oh, I know that. I was just passing by with some friends and saw you lying there, so I got worried about my former director. Smiling. Director, haha, thank you, young Izuku. But go home, There might be a lunatic waiting around to kidnap my best student. Proud smile. Izuku, all right, director. Nervously smiling. Director, very well, young Izuku. See you in 9 months. Gets into the car. Goodbye. Izuku, goodbye, director. Waving. Izuku watched as the car drove away before whispering a few words and disappearing again into crows. Izuku fell for the genjutsu. Time skip 9 months. You could see someone lying on a simple but comfortable bed, looking at a diploma that said he was the best student of the year with perfect scores and granting permission for the UA support course exam. Izuku, tomorrow is the test. Should I feel bad for what I did to that poor man? Thinking, nah, this is for the greater good, smiling. Izuku closed his eyes to fall into a deep sleep. The next morning, you could see Izuku wearing the academy uniform where he graduated and a red backpack with his unforgettable ninja headband walking towards the UA test. I forgot to clarify, but you know me by now, I think. Shuka's attitude is happy and very playful. Izuku, alright, the entrance test. I'm 99% sure it'll be easy, smiling, but how will I get into the hero course? Thinking. Izuku was so lost in his thoughts that he didn't notice 5 girls passing by him, looking at him strangely. Maria, hey, that guy's wearing our high school uniform. Pointing. Tamaji, you're right, but I've never seen him before. Thinking. Nahir, wasn't there a graduate with prodigy level skills? Eri, come to think of it, you're right. Maybe I'll talk to him later. Smiling. Shuka, what if we go now? I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Smiling. Tamaji, I don't think so. He must be concentrating on the test. Stopping Shuka. Meanwhile, our protagonist continued lost in his thoughts, not realizing the 5 girls discussing behind him, and he continued until he reached the academy. Izuku, well, here begins our journey, brother, smiling. He thought before entering the academy, walking calmly. Izuku's POV, the best hero academy in the world, yeah right. The test was super easy. I finished it in 5 minutes, but they took a week to give us the results. No surprise, I came first. All I did during that week was perfect some moves and rest. Honestly, I need more action in my life. So, I found out about this sports festival they do every year where they pick students for a hero course. I thought about it a lot and decided to enter the festival. I know I'll get marriage proposals and stuff after, but I don't care. If I have to commit to someone, it'll be my choice. But enough of that mushy stuff. Today's my first day at UA, and I'm in Class H, the one with only guys. Not sure if that's racist or what, but I'm excited for the festival. Narrator's POV, we see Izuku in his UA uniform, staring at the door of his classroom labeled Class H. Izuku, well, here goes nothing, opens the door. Nobody paid much attention when Izuku walked in. He didn't mind and sat in the corner by the window. Izuku, disrespect seems common here, bored. Then, a teacher came in to settle the class down. After that, the teacher introduced himself, but nobody cared. The class was boring for Izuku, but he had to endure it. Everything was normal until the bell rang for break, and Izuku calmly walked to the cafeteria. Izuku, what should I eat? Looks at the menu, got it. Cook, what'll it be? Smiling. Izuku, I'll have rice balls. Happy. Cook, that'll be 1,000 yen. Izuku, here you go. Hands over the money. After that, Izuku found a spot away from others to sit. Even though he's friendly, he doesn't like talking much. Izuku, I wonder how strong the Class 1A students are, eating, shouldn't worry about it. It'll probably be easy, looks out the window. Meanwhile, at a nearby table, a group of 6 girls was eating and glancing at Izuku discreetly. Maria, I told you, he was the prodigy of our middle school. Whispering. Nahir, it's a shame he's a guy, he'd make a great heroine. Eating. Eri, I wish guys were treated differently. A bit sad. Katsuki, who cares? They've always been inferior, and they better stay that way. Annoyed. Tamaji, hey, don't you think you should be nicer? Annoyed. Shuka, agreed. Eating. Katsuki, I'm not talking about someone so inferior. Pushes the food away and leaves. Izuku overheard their conversation but didn't pay much attention and continued eating. Izuku, I'll shut up people like her soon. Eating. Izuku's POV, and so, my friends, those were the days for almost a whole month, studying and doing other things without excitement. Of course, I kept training. But it's uncomfortable that those girls keep talking about me, not in a bad way, but still awkward. Narrator's POV: we see Izuku's classmates happily chatting among themselves, except Izuku. He never wanted to bond with anyone from the class. They were waiting for the teacher when something caught the protagonist's attention. Extra 1, hey, did you know that 3 days ago, Class 1A was attacked by villains? Extra 2, who doesn't know that by now? Mocking. Izuku, I didn't know. Calm. Extra 1, wow, really? So, Class 1A was on a rescue training, and one thing led to another, and they got attacked. But, thanks to this girl Eri and her monstrous quirk, no one got hurt. Izuku, thanks. Smiling, so, Eri, huh? This could be fun. At that moment, the teacher entered with a pile of papers in hand, and all the students took their seats, waiting for the teacher to speak. Teacher, all right, students, I have news. In a week, it'll be the sports festival, and I want to know if anyone wants to participate. But before you decline, the first 2 tests won't be written. You'll only have 1 vs 1 combat to see if you can beat any student. All the students exchanged serious looks before starting to shake their heads one by one. Teacher, all right, none of you. I understand fighting against quirks is tough. Gets interrupted. Izuku, I'll fight. Raises hand. Teacher, all right, young Uchiha. Smiling, someone in this class does have guts. Note, Izuku took on the Uchiha surname because that's where his power comes from. Classes continued as usual, with Izuku eating, the girls casting doubtful glances, and occasional whispers about his inferiority. He had gotten used to it and didn't care anymore. Now, he could be seen walking through the city streets, lost in thought. Izuku, it's getting closer, brother. Soon, no one will recognize us worldwide. Smiling, sometimes I miss you so much that I don't even know if I should continue this hero dream. Walks with a nostalgic look, but don't worry, Het Nano. I, Izuku Uchiha, will keep my promise, determined. Izuku's POV this week was meant for training, so I didn't go to classes because the teacher told me to train as much as possible. Hey, I think he'll be surprised. It's not fair that I skipped the first 2 tests just because of my gender, but what can I do? The world has become like this, so I can't complain now. Narrator's POV: a stadium filled with people cheering could be seen. Suddenly, from the center of the stadium, Midnight, the presenter, emerged, but most of the cheers came from women rather than men. Midnight, hello, everyone. Today, I'll be the presenter of this wonderful competition. Excited? The crowd went wild with excitement as they anticipated watching the new generation fight. Midnight, all right, let's welcome the best class, Class 1A. Then, Class 1A passed by, all seeming very strong, but the attention focused on a pale girl with a small horn on her forehead. After that, the other classes started passing by, except for Izuku, who was watching everything from the stands until it was his turn to shine. Midnight, now, the best student of Class 1A will give a speech. Eri, you can come forward. She receives a nod from the pale girl. Eri, taking the microphone: I'm not good at giving speeches, but I promise to do my best and show that I deserve to be here. Plus ultra. Everyone, plus ultra. After that, the audience started cheering wildly, and then Midnight began the first test, which was an obstacle course race. Izuku's POV: that girl Eri seems a bit interesting, just like Maria. Their quirks are very strong. Eri's is about rewinding and energy that boosts her strength, and Maria's is intangibility. But it seems when she goes intangible, she can't see or hear anything, which means she has to calculate everything. Eri won the obstacle course race thanks to her quirk, which made her fast. I can also see she's very intelligent because during the cavalry battle, she came up with a great battle plan to not lose the 1 billion points band. Something happened, but she ended up winning. I hope I can face her. It's been a long time since I had fun in a good battle. Narrator's POV: all the female students who made it to the final test were staring intently at Midnight, who was holding a button in hand on a giant screen. Midnight, all right, the next test is easy to understand, just 1 vs 1 battles. When she said that, they all started to look at each other with rivalry. Okay, the screen will randomly choose your fights. She presses the button. The screen started moving wildly, and then the fights started appearing one by one. List of fights. Izuku vs Katsuki. Nehire vs Uraka. Maria vs Kirishima. Shuka vs Mina. Eri vs Denki. Ida vs Aoyama. Momo vs Tokoyami. Tamaji vs. Mei. Note, I won't make up names for so many female characters, only the most obvious ones. The whole stadium was surprised and frightened by the first battle, making everyone look at Izuku and seeing that he was calm, looking at the scoreboard. Izuku, hey, couldn't be better, smirking. Meanwhile, with the other students of Class 1A. Eri, hey, Katsuki, don't go too hard on him. A bit scared. Katsuki, shut up. I'll show him the power difference between him and any woman myself. Annoyed. Maria, I hope they stop the fight when necessary, also a bit scared. Midnight, alright, participants, step onto the platform. The first to step up was Izuku, who was calm, but the opponent looking at him with annoyance. Izuku, I hope you fight well. Closing one eye mockingly. Katsuki, sure, keep talking, idiot. Irritated. They both looked at each other with rivalry and a slight tension in the air. For Izuku, this was exciting, but for Katsuki, it was annoying. That's until Midnight's voice rang out. Midnight, begin. Katsuki was the first to launch with his explosions, but Izuku also ran towards him at an incredible speed. When Katsuki tried to hit him with a quick explosion, he failed. Izuku, nice try. Smirking. He said before delivering a kick that sent her to the side of the platform. This surprised everyone, not just because of the strength but also the agility. Katsuki regrouped and made a huge explosion directed at Izuku. Katsuki, give up, you damn scum. You'll never win. Arrogant. When the smoke cleared, Izuku was unscathed but had his eyes closed. Everyone was surprised and thought the explosion had failed, but what Izuku said when he opened his eyes left them in shock. Izuku, hey, the only scum here is you, damn Muslim. Opening his eyes. Izuku, hey, the only scum here is you, damn Muslim. Opening his eyes. Katsuki, your eyes. In shock. Izuku, my name is Izuku Uchiha, the last descendant of the prestigious Uchiha clan and the last bearer of the Sharingan. So, get ready because I'll have fun. Posing. Everyone in the stadium was in shock, even those watching on TV. In front of them was a man with a quirk. Katsuki, don't get excited just because you have pretty eyes. Making explosions. Katsuki launched himself at Izuku, making short-distance explosions to send him flying, but Izuku easily dodged them. At one point in the fight, Izuku grabbed Katsuki's wrist to punch him, sending him backward and ending the fight quickly. Izuku, Gukakyu no Jutsu. Izuku shot a massive fireball, humiliating Shuka's fire side, and then collided head-on with Katsuki, knocking her out of the ring, slightly injured. Midnight, the winner is Izuku Uchiha. Coming out of shock. After that, Izuku turned to walk towards the participant stands, still not deactivating his Sharingan, while in the teacher stands, they were all still wide-eyed due to the terrible destructive power of the fireball. Aizawa, wow, that was amazing. Amazed. Endeavor, I want him in my agency. Raising his hand. All Might, not so fast, Speedster. Stopping Endeavor, it's obvious he'll come to mine. Ryukyu, don't make me laugh, he'll come to mine. Confident. And that's how the teachers started a somewhat comical discussion while the students were still recovering from total shock. Mina, that was amazing. Excited. Tamaji, funny how life turns out, huh? Relaxed, ha ha, the Muslim lost against someone supposedly inferior, smirking. Tokoyami, I knew that guy was weird. Serious. Eri, why do you say that? Doubtful. Tokoyami, I felt like he emitted an aura of leadership or something, it's strange, it's like he called out to me. Puzzled. Note, remember that Izuku has a contract with crows, and no, there won't be any dirty scenes because of that, so don't ask. At that moment, a dark-haired guy entered through the door, and the students looked at him analytically without him realizing because he was Izuku. But what he didn't know was that they were there. Izuku, yes. 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 Jumping for joy, I can't beat a woman? Sure, now I'm screwed. Who invented quirks? Smiling. All the girls had an anime-style sweat drop as they thought Izuku was serious, and at that moment, Izuku turned around to see that they had heard him. Izuku blushing. Mina, hey, red eyes, can I ask you some questions? Running towards him. Nay higher, ha ha, rookies, I have dibs on question number 3. Running alongside Mina. They were about to reach Izuku, but before that, the one vanished into crows, astonishing everyone. Maria, how many quirks does he have? Amazed. Iri, hey, Tokoyami, you said you saw him as a leader, right? Don't you think that power has something to do with it? Looking at her. Tokoyami, blushing, oh no, I hope to God he's not a pervert. Slightly scared. Shuka, don't worry, he seems very nervous. Besides, if he becomes a pervert, I'll freeze him. Supporting her friend. While Izuku teleported into Crows to the stadium's terrace, oddly, no one noticed this. Izuku, alright, I'll stay here, I'm not planning to talk to anyone yet. Relaxing. Izuku watched as Midnight emerged from the center of the stadium that had already been repaired. Midnight, alright, the next battle will be Ochako Uraka vs Neihire Hato. Excited. The whole crowd started cheering for the fight to begin, while Izuku watched from afar. Izuku, obviously, the interesting fights come later, but I'll settle for this. Summoning a bag of popcorn from Kamui. Note, I'm going to narrate the other rounds fully, where the strongest ones are. Neihire vs Uraka. The fight was short since Uraka needed to touch Neihire to win, which didn't happen because her waves were incredibly strong, sending her flying within minutes. Maria vs Kirishima. From Izuku's point of view, this fight wasn't interesting since Maria made herself intangible to block Kirishima's blows until she discovered his fighting pattern and started counterattacking, eventually driving him back out of the battlefield. Shuka vs Mina. The fight didn't last long as Shuka quickly made a huge ice column that immobilized Mina. Iri vs Denki. This one was a bit of a draw as Denki increased his speed to keep up with Iri, but the one for all speed was superior. The fight ended with a powerful smash from Iri. Ida vs Aoyama. The fight from Izuku's perspective was very close as Ida could be fast, but Aoyama could see and keep her away with his laser until he got tired and started feeling stomach pain, making Ida the winner, although she was somewhat tired by the end of the fight. Momo vs Tokoyami. Same as the anime, but Tokoyami is female, and just to clarify, she doesn't have the crow's head. Tamaji vs Mei. The fight was easy as Mei tried to use Tamaji as a way to advertise her babies, but she was quickly grabbed by her tentacles and thrown out of the battlefield. Midnight, alright, the first round is concluded, it's time for the semifinals. Excited. The crowd started cheering wildly, but this time, the men's cheers surpassed the women's as they wanted to see Izuku win the festival in the name of men. Midnight, and the quarterfinals will be pressing the button. The screen started spinning wildly again before displaying the participants' names. Quarterfinals. Izuku vs Neihire. Maria vs Tamaji. Shuka vs Ida. Iri vs Tokoyami. After that, the participants smiled and looked at their opponents with rivalry and determination, except Neihire, who couldn't find Izuku. Neihire, hey, has anyone seen Izuku? Looking around. The participants looked around, but they couldn't find him until a vortex formed in their midst. The students went on guard but relaxed upon seeing Izuku emerge from the vortex. Izuku, sorry, I got lost on the road of life. Smiling. The students, civilians, and teachers all had an anime-style sweat drop at Izuku's attitude. Izuku, looking at the screen, looks like I'll be facing the sky blue, huh? Smiling, no, I wanted to fight Iri, crying internally. After that, Midnight announced a 30-minute break for both students and spectators. POV Izuku. Wow, didn't think showing myself to the world would feel this good. It feels like a weight off my shoulders. But back to the festival, I really wanted to fight Iri. She seems strong, and I want to challenge her. But if she's that strong, she'll surely make it to the finals. POV narrator. Midnight was in the middle of the field while Izuku and Neihire continued to stare at each other. Midnight, alright. Both got into position as Izuku activated his Sharingan. Midnight, begin. Neihire went to fight Izuku. From that distance, she could easily dodge his waves. Neihire reached Izuku to start using combos she learned long ago with her teacher. But it was futile, as Izuku blocked everything effortlessly with one hand, seemingly bored. Neihire stepped back to start flying. Neihire, don't underestimate me. Wave. Neihire unleashed powerful energy waves that destroyed half of the field. Everyone thought Izuku had lost, but Izuku, you know, you're right. I won't underestimate you. Standing still. Everyone present was impressed. He hadn't dodged, but neither had he been hit. Izuku, I'll tell you a secret, Neihire. Your friend, Maria, isn't the only one who can phase through things. Revealing his Mangekyu. Izuku, I'll tell you a secret, Nehire. Your friend, Maria, isn't the only one who can phase through things. Revealing his Mangekyo. Nehire, what do you mean? Doubtful. Izuku, I'll tell you anyway. No one can evade my Kamui. You see, my eyes come with a dimension I call Kamui. I send my body there to avoid harm. The only way someone can touch me while I'm there is if they move so fast that I don't notice, like in a millisecond, or if someone else has my eye. Said calmly. Everyone was stunned. Izuku had many abilities, and this Kamui seemed very powerful if what he said was true. Nehire, what else can you do? Fearful. Izuku, I won't say, but I'll tell you I have 11 different abilities and haven't used half of them yet. Getting into position. Nehire was surprised but didn't show it. She lunged at Izuku, but this time it was harder, she couldn't even touch him. Unlike Maria, he had it activated all the time. Izuku, annoyed, started to counterattack. Nehire kicked, but it went through Izuku, who then punched her in the back, sending her back. Nehire turned quickly, but it was too late. Izuku started using combos she couldn't evade. Anyone watching would think it impossible for a man to beat a woman like this. Nehire tried to find a blind spot, but nothing was tangible. Izuku, fed up, stopped her with a move that sent her backwards. Izuku, relax, I swear it's nothing personal. Making hand signs Chidori. Izuku went quickly with the Chidori, but when he was about to hit her. Nehire, I surrender. Trembling. Izuku stopped with his Chidori in front of Nehire. It was evident he halted with some effort. Not only that, but when he stopped, he created a strong electromagnetic wave that sent a shiver down everyone's spine. After that, Nehire collapsed unconscious. Midnight, the winner is Izuku Uchiha. Impressed. Izuku carried Nehire bridal style to the infirmary. It was perhaps his fault, he might have gone a bit too far. When Izuku left Nehire, he arrived just in time for Maria versus Tamaji's next battle. Midnight, alright, begin. Maria burrowed into the ground, shedding her clothes to reveal another layer beneath, preventing Tamaji from seeing. Tamaji, seeing this, became alert, but it wasn't enough. Maria appeared behind her, landing a blow that threw her off balance. Tamaji then fell to the ground, using her tentacle fingers to trap Maria, hoping to win. But Maria phased through the tentacles. Maria, wow, that was close. Looking at Tamaji. Tamaji, hee hee, almost gotcha. Getting into position. Maria ran toward Tamaji. Tamaji tried using her tentacles, but they went through Maria. Maria reached Tamaji and struck her, knocking her out of the ring. Maria, you know, I told you have to watch where you're standing. Smiling. Tamaji, you're right. With a downcast aura. Midnight, the winner is Maria Tagata. All the spectators applauded as they saw the fight was short but exciting, while Izuku could be seen munching popcorn at the top of the stadium. Izuku, oh, it's over already? I wanted to see more of the intense match. Eating since the fights must go on, right? Shuka vs. Ida. The fight wasn't so interesting because Shuka blocked Ida's path with her fire and trapped him with her ice. This didn't impress Izuku, as he saw it coming. Eri vs. Tokoyami. Eri won the fight for obvious reasons. Tokoyami's quirk dissipated due to the air bullets from One for All, giving Eri the victory when his quirk couldn't defend him anymore, knocking him out of the combat arena. Midnight, alright, audience, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Pressing the button. Everyone was paying absolute attention to the scoreboard as it would reveal the matchups for the semifinals. Semifinals. Shuka vs. Izuku. Eri vs. Maria. Shuka smiled seeing who she'd have to face, while Izuku cursed his fate for not wanting to fight Eri. Midnight, alright, we'll give a 30-minute break, so shoo. Shoo. Ushering the students towards the exits. At the exits, the Class 1A could be seen, all recovered except for Nehire, who was still sore, and Katsuki, who had a few bandages. Eri, wow, Shuka, aren't you worried about fighting Uchiha-san? Looking at her. Shuka, well, I think just a little. I can barely deal with Maria's intangibility. I think it'll be very difficult with someone who has no weak points. Locking herself in her thoughts, who am I kidding? Surely he'll show another part of those weird eyes, and I'll lose, dejected. Maria, wow, you feeling down, that's unexpected. Trying to cheer up her friend. Katsuki, I would have defeated him if someone had told me he had a damn quirk. Annoyed. At that moment, a dark-haired man with red three-spoked eyes entered, causing some to look at him with fear and Class 1B with intrigue. Mina, you're not getting away now. Sliding with her acid. Mina was about to reach him when a shadow with a crow-like figure stopped her. Tokoyami, Dark, what are you doing? Seeing him come out without being called. Dark, I obey Izuku-sama. Everyone was surprised. Dark's eyes were the same as Izuku's, indicating he was being controlled. Izuku, alright, Dark, take her. Dark, of course, Izuku-sama. Going to the group where Mina was and tying her up with a rope. Izuku, okay, now return to your host. Smiling. Dark, of course, Izuku-sama. Entering Tokoyami. Izuku, well, I think the fights are about to start, so goodbye. Everyone was surprised, but before anyone could say a word, Midnight's voice came over the loudspeaker. Midnight, on the loudspeaker, Shuka Todoroki, please report to the battlefield. Shuka, okay, I guess I have to go. Snapping out of her shock before leaving, please, spirits of the heavens, be kind, with fear. Shuka walked toward the stadium, where Izuku already was. She took her enthusiastic stance and stepped onto the stage so she and Izuku could stare at each other. Midnight, alright, they get into position begin. The first to attack was Shuka with a massive burst of fire. The blaze went towards Izuku, but everyone watched in awe as all the fire went into his right eye. Izuku, well, that was a bad move. Smiling Kamui. A vortex opened next to Todoroki, and an explosion of fire engulfed the whole place. Shuka would have been thrown out of the stadium if it weren't for her ice. Shuka, panting, okay, I can't use my fire, and I can't engage in close combat. What do I do? Looking at Izuku. Izuku, you know what? I'm bored already. Making hand signs. Shuka, seeing this, used all her energy to try to avoid the fireball, but she didn't know it was just a distraction, as Izuku appeared behind her. Izuku, bye. Sending her to the Kamui dimension. Everyone in the stadium was in shock because they thought he had killed her until Izuku said, don't worry, she's not dead, and a vortex appeared in the stands, from which Shuka emerged. Midnight, the winner is Izuku Uchiha. Meanwhile, in the stands, Shuka had a depressed aura. Maria, you did your best. Smiling. Shuka, it's not that. Eerie, then what is it? Confused. Shuka, that dimension is cold, dark, and very scary. Comically crying. Everyone, what exactly did she see? With some fear. After that, Maria and Eerie were called to start their battle. Eerie versus Maria. The fight was intense because Eerie struggled to land hits due to Maria's intangibility, but in the end, Maria miscalculated and got knocked out by Eerie's smash. After that, there was an extra battle for third place between Shuka and Maria. Maria versus Shuka. Maria won because Shuka wasn't good at close combat, and Maria approached with her intangibility, landing punches until Shuka was out of the ring. After all those fights, finally came the most anticipated match for both the audience and Izuku, the final between Izuku and Eerie. Midnight, are you ready, folks? With fireworks. Everyone, yes. Excited. Midnight, on one side, we have the man who has impressed us all and continues to do so. He is Izuku Uchiha. Izuku walks by with a calm expression. Izuku, I'm going to enjoy this more than you can imagine, getting into position. Midnight, and on the other side, the strongest of Class 1A, who has also shown great power. She is Eerie. Eerie walks by with a smiling face. Eerie, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Not showing her frustration. The two stood on the field, looking at each other with rivalry, but Izuku seemed thoughtful. Izuku, she's very pretty. I hadn't noticed before, with a hint of blush. Midnight, alright. Begin. Eerie's hair stood up a bit, shining with a pure white color as she activated one for all at 100%, but Izuku wasn't impressed and activated the EMS to summon the Susanoo armor. They both lunged at each other, exchanging punches and creating a crater in the middle of the stadium. Eerie threw punches that broke many parts of the stadium, but Izuku dodged them until Eerie threw a punch that Izuku easily caught before kicking her in the head. Eerie ended up buried in the ground, but Izuku didn't stop there. He flew out, forming an arc with Susanoo energy and said, Indra's arrows. Izuku created multiple lightning arrows and fired them, not giving Eerie a chance to escape, hitting her squarely, creating a massive explosion. Izuku slowly descended towards where the stadium was to see Eerie emerging from the smoke, healing her own wounds. Eerie, I can still keep going. She had no more wounds, but she looked exhausted and without her 100% mode. Izuku, deactivating Susanoo armor. Sorry, but I don't want to hurt such a pretty face anymore. Smiling. Eri, blushing. Izuku, Koto Amatsukami. The entire studio collapsed unconscious, even those watching on television. Izuku, oops, I overdid it, embarrassed. Time skip 2 hours. The stadium, civilians, heroes, and students were waking up with headaches from Koto Amatsukami. Everyone, what happened? Looking at Izuku sitting in a chair in the middle of the field. Izuku, I'm sorry, you see, my Koto Amatsukami is an ability that puts anyone in such an exhausting illusion that they faint, and I accidentally locked everyone into it. Nervous laugh. Midnight, how long have we been like this? Doubtful. Izuku, oh, just 2 hours. Embarrassed. Everyone, what? After that, Izuku was declared the winner, but of course, he received scolding from everyone, though not too harshly because it was a brilliant technique. Izuku, Maria, and Eri were on the field as they had to be given their medals. Izuku, why is it taking so long? Frustrated. Eri, it shouldn't take long. Hey, can I ask you something? Nervous. Izuku, sure, why not? Calm. Eri, am I pretty? Blushing. Maria, ha. That's what she was aiming for, you pig. Laughing. Izuku blushed a bit, but before he could respond, someone came. All girl, I'm here. Everyone got excited except for Izuku because he didn't really know her. He realized he didn't know much about heroes now that he thought about it. All girl walked up to the three to pass by each one and give them medals. All girl, hee, young Maria, I'm proud of you for giving it your all in this competition. Smiling. Maria, thank you. Smiling. All girl placed the third place medal on her before moving to her successor. Note, if you want, I can make an OVA about how Eri got one for all. All girl, young Eri, you really amazed me. I hope you'll become a great hero. Smiling. Eri, yes, sensei. Happy. All girl placed the second place medal on her before moving on to Izuku. All girl, and what can I say about you, young Uchiha? You truly left us all speechless. I hope you'll continue on the path of goodness. Smiling. Izuku, to be honest, I have no idea who you are. Calm. All girl, I see. Smiling, so, you don't know me, huh? A bit down. All girl placed the gold medal on Izuku before giving him a hug, burying him in her ample bosom. Izuku, her breasts are so comfortable, snuggling. Eri, shoo, sensei, annoyed. All girl broke the hug, giving Izuku a discomforted look and relieving Eri. She stood in front of everyone and said, thank you for coming, and remember, break your limits. Smiling. Izuku's POV. Finally, some excitement in my life. For a moment, I thought I'd lose my mind out of sheer boredom. But after the festival, I went home. Thanks to some stroke of luck, no one knows where I am, which is a relief. Tomorrow, I have to go to the principal's office. I think I'm excited for it. Narrator's POV. You could see a dark-haired guy in UA uniform and a ninja headband walking down the street towards his school. People admired him, and someone even gave him an apple. Izuku, wow, I feel important, eating, wait, I'm dumb, I have Kamui. Izuku headed to an alley to avoid being seen because he found women to be a bit bothersome from his perspective. Then, he teleported with Kamui. Meanwhile, at UA's principal's office, all the teachers and the number one heroine, unharmed, were discussing something. Nezu, alright, it's decided. Young Izuku will have to take the test. Sipping coffee. Aizawa, seems fine to me. Tired. All Might, haha, I think he's already strong enough for class 1A. I don't mind him taking the test. Smiling. Midnight, do whatever you want, but I'd like to have a private chat with the student. Flirtatious and drooling. PM, I don't think that's a good idea. What if the UN finds out? Scared for her friend. Midnight, it'll be worth it cleaning the drool from her mouth. At that moment, a vortex formed in the principal's office, and Izuku came out with a smile. Izuku, sorry for being late. Embarrassed. Nezu, it's okay, young man putting down his cup. But we can't just put you in a course like this out of nowhere. Izuku, oh no, confused, darn it. All Might, don't worry, young man. There's a solution. Smiling. Izuku, what is it? Aizawa, you have to take UA's test. Tired. Izuku, that's easy smiling. Nezu, serious look, it's not that simple. Let's make it more interesting. You'll have to face all the robots we have, then face 3 0-pointers, and finally, the whole UA will be watching. Sipping coffee. The others were shocked because it seemed like a lot for a 15-year-old boy, but they were even more shocked when they heard Izuku's response. Izuku, I accept. How hard can it be? Smiling, but I can't miss such a good opportunity to set conditions too. Nezu, and what would those conditions be? Putting down his coffee. Izuku, I guess that giant stack of papers is everyone's marriage certificates, right? Nezu nods. Well, if I win the battle by defeating all the robots, you'll reject those marriage certificates for me. Smiling. Nezu, well, I thought you were just a pervert taking advantage of things. Smiling. Izuku, why do you say that? Confused. Nezu, come on, we all saw how you liked all girls. Figure. Sipping coffee. All girl, haha, young man, that's true. Looking at him. Izuku, I just found it comfortable, that's all. Calm. Izuku, I just found it comfortable, that's all. Calm. Nezu, whatever you say, but getting back to the main topic, I accept the bet. Extending his hand. Izuku, alright, shaking his hand. Midnight, clears throat now that everything is settled. Hey young man, don't you want these? Charms? Flirtatious. Izuku, turns away. Izuku dispersed into crows to leave through the window, while Midnight was in a corner feeling down because Izuku rejected her. Time skip 1 hour. The students were called to witness Izuku's test. Most of them were excited and eager to see more of the only man with a quirk, but let's focus on the Era Squad. Maria, hey, shouldn't he be in our class? Walking. Tamaji, he probably didn't want to or something. We all saw he's someone who likes to fight. Walking. Eri, maybe that's why, or he made a bet everyone looks at her. Shuka, nah, I don't think so. Mocking. Eri, yeah, you're right. Who bets with a student? Walking. Nahir, I want to know more about his abilities since he didn't show all of them at the festival with a notebook. The 5 of them reached the windows, clearly seeing a dark-haired guy preparing at the exit door. They all watched Izuku analytically, wanting to learn more about him, while the men cheered him on. Izuku, wow, this school has a lot of money, looking at the mini-city. PM, alright, young man, there are 5 types of robots with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0 points each, getting larger in size according to their numbers. Izuku, okay. Calm. PM, begin. Pressing a button. Without waiting a second, Izuku used one of his most cherished techniques. He teleported in front of all the robots, then pulled out his sword from a Kamui vortex. Izuku, maybe this will be fun. Smiling. Izuku dashed towards the robots, barely giving them time to react due to his speed. By the time they were ready to attack, he had already cut them down. Izuku, hee posing. The nearby robots began to emit smoke from their circuits due to the onslaught, leaving only the ones further away, totaling 198 of all kinds. Izuku, looks like they're not giving up. Standing in front of them. Kaden, great fire annihilation. A large amount of fire turned all the robots into ashes. Needless to say, almost everyone, if not everyone, was left speechless by the magnitude of one of Endeavor's strongest techniques. Izuku, brushing off the debris. Well, I think that's all. Just as Izuku was about to leave, a strong tremor made him look back to see 3 robots much larger than the previous ones. Izuku, wow, they're persistent. Smiling, but they don't stand a chance against my Susanoo. Izuku enveloped himself in a giant armor, 120 meters tall. If you don't know how big that is, don't worry, it's the same size as Madara Susanoo, impressing everyone since that armor is 4 times bigger than the 0-point robots. Izuku, farewell. Izuku grabbed his spear and with a single swipe, destroyed the entire mini-city including the 0-point robots. Everyone present was almost fainting from such a display of power. Then Izuku deactivated Susanoo. Izuku, panting. Phew, I keep getting better with Susanoo. Smiling. Time skip 1 hour. After that, all the students went to their classes while Izuku went to the principal's office. Izuku, knocking on the door. May I come in? Nezu, come in, young man. Serious. After that, Izuku entered and could see all the teachers with fearful faces due to the principal's aura. Nezu, you know how much that city cost me. Smiling in a friendly manner. Izuku, you said to give it my 100%. Calm. Nezu, size okay, your class is 1A, and I'm off to cry and reject marriage contracts, tears in eyes. Izuku teleports next to the principal. I'm truly sorry, please don't reject them if you don't want a hugging her. Nezu, don't worry, young man pulls away from the hug. You go with Aizawa to your new class smiling. Izuku, thank you, principal smiling. Aizawa, alright brat, follow me, motioning for him to follow. Izuku didn't say anything and just followed his teacher to his new class. While in the classroom everyone was chatting happily until Kirishima, hey, do you think Uchiha-san will be in this class? Excited. Denki, it's obvious he will be, didn't you see his power? It's simply amazing, smiling. Katsuki, shut up, he's had enough with that guy, annoyed. Eri, okay Katsuki, don't be grumpy, smiling. At that moment, Mommy Centipede entered, making everyone sit down. But what was strange was that she didn't have her sleeping bag, instead, she walked, which was unusual for her. Aizawa, alright, kids, today I have an announcement. UA has established that starting today, you'll have a new classmate. Everyone gets excited. Alright, you can come in now. At that moment, a dark-haired guy in UA uniform, a ninja headband, and a red backpack entered, with his Sharingan activated with 3 tomoe, wearing a serious expression. Izuku stood in front of the class, emanating the same killing intent as Madara. Needless to say, everyone was scared by such pressure until Izuku, just kidding, smiling. Let me formally introduce myself. My name is Izuku Uchiha, but just call me Izuku. My friends call me Izu, and I'll be your new classmate.